All right, my brother here is saying that the Prophet Muhammad was illiterate. Is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
Why do you believe as Muslim that he was illiterate?
We believe in the revelation given to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in which that it actually states this book was given to an illiterate man. Furthermore, there were prophecies in the Bible, which obviously predates the Quran, that actually conform to that argument and agree that a revelation will be given to a man who is illiterate, and that man will say, I cannot read.
Okay, so now I'm going to have to ask you the question of where in the Quran where in the Bible does it say that there is going to be a prophet that's going to be literate? One. And where does it say in the Quran as well, it says that there is a prophet that is illiterate?
Okay, Matthew.
They're wicked people. They're not terrorists.
Okay, I'll be really honest. Yeah, please, if you don't mind.
Okay.
I can't tell you the verse, but I can tell you what the words are.
Okay.
It says, a revelation will be given to a man who cannot read.
And this is supposedly in the book
Prophecy.
a prophecy
in
in the book of Matthew, you say?
In the book of Matthew, I believe so, yes.
Okay, but you don't know the actual quote? No. All right, so it's no problem. It's no problem. And you also say in the Quran it says that he was an illiterate man.
What's the reason? Yes, that's what our historic records say, and that's what our revelation says.
Okay, so now the question I'm going to have to ask you, what was the very first surah, very first revelation revealed to the Prophet Muhammad?
Iqra.
And what does the word Iqra mean?
To read, to recite, to repeat.
Okay, so the very first word that was given to the Prophet Muhammad was to read. But
can I add?
Okay, hold on, 1 second. So the very first word that was uttered to Prophet Muhammad was to read. But this man who was told by God, I suppose, to read, couldn't read. And Allah didn't know that he couldn't read. So go ahead.
With respect, I did not just say the word means read. I also said it means recite and to repeat. The Arabic language at the time, from what I have understood, was a rich language. So, for example, one word, if you were to translate it into English, could actually mean 30 words, would you believe?
I hear you. So
now, the actual word, you're right, Iqra, we cannot do justice to it in our tongue today, the English language, to actually translate it.
Okay.
Now, one of the translations, you're absolutely right, is to read. Another is to recite. The Quran is not that which is written in a book, but that which is recited.
Excellent, excellent. The brother is definitely correct. The word Iqra is actually a statement or a command from the root qara, which literally means to read and to recite. Because at the time, reading and reciting was not separate. When you had a piece of paper in front of you or a book in front of you, you would read it, but you would be reciting at the same time. Your mouth will be moving, your lips will be moving. So the brother is correct. But the question is now, what was he told to read?
اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق.
What was he told to read?
What was he told to read? The revelation.
Okay.
He wasn't told to read, sorry. Let me correct you a little bit. He was told to repeat after the angel Gabriel. So the angel Gabriel is telling him, Iqra. And he says, Ma ana biqari, which means I am not literate or I cannot read.
He said, what shall I read?
No. He said,
He says, what shall I read?
What's the Arabic word?
Is ma.
Okay, can I say in Arabic?
It can also mean what.
Yeah, okay.
Can it also mean what?
Yes.
Yes. What shall I read?
Now, we did agree earlier that one word in Arabic at that time
could mean recite. Yes.
Fantastic. Yes, you're right. So on the third occasion, Muhammad gathered what was being asked of him by Angel Gabriel, which he believed was to repeat.
Okay. So quick intermission. So are you aware that according to the accounts in the Surah Rasulullah, yes, the Surah of the Prophet Muhammad, it was clearly stated that the Prophet was given a scripture, a coverlet with writings on it by the angel Jibrail to read.
No, unless you can show me that verse.
Okay, and when you're watching this right now, it's going to show you right below the verse scrolling past. Okay.
And can I tell you what my belief is, or what we believe? We believe the revelation was given to him. So no, not a physical book, as you're probably inferring. No, a revelation was given through the angel Gabriel, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was the first hafiz, so the first person to memorize the Quran. Now, the tradition at the time was not to do with scripture or that which is written down. The tradition at the time and how that revelation was revealed to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was of a verbal. So it was a verbal tradition.
Okay, so which I'm going to show you as well. It's going to be scrolling past where it actually says for the Prophet Muhammad to read a particular writing, and afterwards he was able to read the writing. It clearly stated that he was able to read the writing. To further prove that point, it actually says within Iqra, yes, that God taught man that which he did not know via the pen. Is that correct or is that wrong?
I can't confirm that unless you can show me.
If you could recite, we both can memorize and remember the Quran right now, and we can sound out the words within the Quran, and we can translate right now for the people to listen to.
With respect, I will not be able to do justice as I'm not a scholar.
Okay, could this brother right now, do you know Surah Iqra?
Do you say you have a good understanding of Iqra? Can you translate it?
Yeah, who created man? Go ahead. From a clot of blood or from something hanging?
اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق الإنسان من علق
We just done.
Yeah, up to there. اقرأ باسم ربك
He is the most generous.
اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علمك.
Sorry, say it again.
الذي علم بالقلم.
Who taught man by the pen. Okay, so
Did you say that?
Yeah.
okay, so he taught man by the pen. So it clearly states, okay, in the very first surah, Iqra, to read in the hadith and even in the surah of the Prophet Muhammad.
With respect, not just read. You know what the word
It also means to recite, okay?
Thank you.
But in there, it actually says that he was given a writing to read, okay? And in the Quran, it clearly states that God teaches man by the pen that which he did not know.
We don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
So are you inferring because later on in the surah
Yes.
it says God taught man how to read
Yes.
with the pen?
Yes, taught
Are
man
you
knowledge by the pen,
inferring-
yes.
Or knowledge.
Yes.
Are you inferring that the scripture that he's actually reading from was of that which you can read?
Yes.
Did we not agree earlier on? What are the first words? So let's start from the top.
Okay, the first word is
Iqra.
Iqra.
And we agreed it can mean to read, to recite, and we also agreed that the tradition at the time was of oral.
I would not say that the tradition. Which tradition are you talking about?
The tradition of Muhammad's time, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay,
So,
can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
How do you believe that revelation was given to him?
the very first revelation that was given to the Prophet Muhammad.
Yes.
Okay.
When he was up in the cave.
According to the story, okay, that's written in the Surah Nabi, which is the Surah of the Prophet Muhammad, the story life of the Prophet Muhammad. The angel Jibrail appeared to him. Okay, and gave him a scripture to read. And he said, read. And he says, what shall I read? Or no, I cannot read, depending upon the translation. Yes. And he was told that 3 times. And he was pressed or squeezed tightly with that information. And because of the fear of the pain of death, he said, okay, then what shall I read? And he was given something to read. And the angel Jibrail recited the very first surah. Correct?
With respect,
And
that is
then-
your interpretation.
This is what's written inside the hadith. This is
And
what's
that is
written
your
inside
interpretation
of the surah.
Are you an Arabic
And then
scholar?
it also says, yes, it clearly says within it that he read the information.
If I came into here, you're trying to twist or they use the word ma in here. If you are not Arabic grammatically expert, you cannot say ma in here is what. It's definitely it's not. I'm not.
So you're saying is definitely not.
Ma, the one you're referring to is called in Arabic is asma al-mawsula, and it has to be in the middle, and here is at the beginning. So when you say ma ana biqari, it's quietly negative or negating I'm not a reader. Otherwise, if ma, it has to be, supposed to be in the middle of a sentence. Qara'tu alladhi ma, something like that. But in here,
That's incorrect. But go ahead. That's incorrect. But go ahead.
no, but unless you want to adjust your interpretation for what you want to after that broadcast, that's entirely different. But ma is definitely.
Go ahead. Sorry.
May I suggest something? I think we got off on the wrong foot because I gave you the common because it's Arabic, the common interpretation of how that revelation was given to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, unfortunately, 10 minutes later, I did understand your understanding of it, should we say, and that obviously doesn't conform. So, if I may repeat the tradition or how the revelation was given to him, you are absolutely right that the Prophet was visited by angel Gabriel, and he did ask, or the angel Gabriel said, Iqra, and from my understanding, you may not agree, one of the meanings is to recite, that to repeat. Now, if we carry on with this, said it after the third time, the Prophet ﷺ understood what was being asked of him. Because you are right, he did say, I am unlearned. That's the correct meaning. Okay. So after every time the Gabriel said, Iqra, Prophet said, I am unlearned. Iqra, I am not learned. The third time, Iqra, Prophet understood and repeated the following words, Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaqa al-insana min 'alaq, which we went through. Now, we believe that revelation, as I just explained, is a revelation given to him orally and in no way a scripture in which that you can actually tangibly hold.
Okay, that's perfect. I love the way you just explained that. And we're going to actually, as we said before, it's going to be scrolling past where he said he read what was written that was given to him. And yet again, it would
later on in the verse.
Yes, and again, the brother say that it says that I cannot read. Not you. Yeah, I'm not a reader. Okay, so therefore, something must have been presented to the Prophet Muhammad for him to say to the angel Jibreel, he is not a reader. There must have been something that was written down for him to respond that I'm not a reader. Okay, that's my very first point. But I do like. This is separate to what this brother here is saying, but this is going to what this brother over here is saying, okay? So, again, I agree with you. You had a very strong point. But again, my point is that he was able to read because it's going to be scrolling past where it said for him to read. As again, it says within inside of the Quran that God teaches man, his prophets, etc., that which he did not know via the Kalam, via the pen. Okay, so if Muhammad was indeed a prophet, like all the other prophets that goes back into history, each one of those was taught the wisdom of Allah via the Kalam, via the pen. Okay, so therefore, Prophet Muhammad, if he indeed was a prophet, had to have learned via the Kalam, via the pen.
May I comment?
Yes, go ahead.
From what the conclusion that you made, that would only be if we started off with your understanding, so your tree, should we say?
Of course.
Now, if we went through the tree that I explained earlier,
yes,
in which the revelation was given to him orally, recited to him, and he repeated, then in that case, the surah, later on in the surah, when Allah did reveal things to his prophets through the pen, we have no problem with that. Allah would have given his wisdom maybe at a later date through the pen. But the question still stands, how was that revelation, that initial revelation given to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? And we believe humbly that it was revealed to him through an oral recitation in which he repeated. So Iqra again can mean recite, repeat, and read, if you like.
Definitely, I definitely agree with the brother that the very first surah was given to him orally. Fantastic. But what was given to him originally was a scripture to read. Hence it says to Iqra, to read or to recite.
Where did you get that information, brother?